My sheep hear my voice, says the Lord. I know them and they follow me. Alleluia. 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 The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. When it was evening after sunset, they brought to Jesus all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases, and he drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him, and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go on to the nearby villages, that I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into their synagogues, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
You may be seated. Good evening, everyone. This is not time for really a long introduction, but I'm Father Eric Weldon. I'm a good friend of Father Aguirre's, and we went to school together, and I'm from Wichita, Kansas. Just go north to the Rocky Mountains and take a right, and you'll find Kansas. All right. We're here gathered in adoration, and we're going to, later on, we'll have a liturgy of the hours. We'll pray evening prayer. And so in this time of adoration, I chose this reading. It does not sound Eucharistic. You know, it sounds like a bunch of demons. And it sounds kind of scary. But you know, in that reading, Jesus is about doing good. And the evil one is about trying to get in his way. The evil one is always saying, "I know who you are." Or really, "We know who you are, Jesus of Nazareth." It's really never singular. Demons in the plural. And so Jesus silences them. Because only good can proclaim good. And the evil one cannot proclaim anything that is good. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, just to get myself together here, I want to talk a little bit about what it means with adoration for us. And two other words that are going to be big are communion and evangelization. Now, in adoration, we often think of quiet meditation, right? Or like in my parish, we must have an hour for the Vietnamese community, and then we must have an hour for the Hispanic community, and we have an hour for those who speak English. And everybody has their own way of praying out loud. And it's good to give glory to God in the Eucharist, in this heightened form of praise and worship that flows from the Mass. It all flows from the Mass, the holy sacrifice of the Mass, right? All adoration does. Flows from Jesus in his real presence in the Mass, celebrated with the community. And so we are in a communion. And we just heard right there in the Gospel, Jesus, what happens there? Jesus went to a deserted place to pray early in the morning. So we've got to pray. Each of us has to go to Jesus and come to terms with our own lives in front of Jesus. We must do that. At the same time, anytime we are in the Mass, and as well as in adoration, we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. Hebrews 12, right? We're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, the saints who've gone before us. And also in the Mass, there is the preface. The preface is that part where Father has the dialogue, right? The Lord be with you, with your spirit, lift up your hearts. We lift them up to the Lord. Let us give thanks to the Lord our God. It's a dialogue. Un diálogo por la profecía, ¿sí? Es una conversación entre el sacerdote y la gente. It's a conversation in between the people and you, between the people, between the priest and all of you, to draw us into this Eucharist. And not just you, the church right down on earth, slugging it out, right? but also with all the saints and angels. So he's at the very end of every preface, before you do the holy, 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 it says, and with all the saints and angels and archangels and thrones and dominions and princes and powers and principalities of heaven, we offer you all the glory and praise. It always has that in the preface. So we are surrounded by the great cloud of witnesses, the saints. We hear that in Hebrews 12:1. And then in the preface, we explicitly say those words, so we live and breathe in the midst of that communion of life with other people. Because, yes, as I said, each of us must go to that deserted place with Jesus, which means go to that quietness with Him in adoration. But yet, it's never just me and Jesus. Never. It just isn't. The Eucharist is not just my private little devotion, and it's mine and mine alone, and please don't bother me. All right? It is a Eucharist that brings us into a communion. Like children are going to make their first communion, right? And people say that. Oh, what sacraments do you have? Oh, I have my first communion. Well, you have the Eucharist and you made your first communion. That's just a little point of order. But the thing is communion is what we receive, and communion is what we live within, not just here amongst each other, but with saints and angels and all the saints who have gone before us. Grandparents who taught you right from wrong. They've gone before us, saints and angels, right? Angels in heaven. And so it is a great communion of life. And the saints are with us. They are at that moment. And Jesus, in the Gospel of Mark, which is a kind of a lightning fast gospel, in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus calls the two sets of brothers, Peter and Andrew, James and John, right? He calls them, and then what happens? Immediately, the next verse, he's going to Capernaum. And what happens in Capernaum? They're in the synagogue, and he's preaching the good news, and who's in the synagogue? A man possessed by a demon, and he calls out Jesus. So the demon knows who Jesus is. Probably better than we know who Jesus is sometimes. And Jesus, of course, deals with him. But it's kind of strange that in the midst of all that goodness, this is the synagogue, which is like their church, right? In a synagogue, they're praying, and they're hearing the scriptures, the prophets, and then Jesus speaks, and then a demon tries to get in the way. How strange is that? You're like, well, I can't believe that's happening. But it happens. It happens. So we can also say, inasmuch as the evil one is present when things are going well, when we're trying to proclaim the good news, we're trying to live our life. Also, even in the midst of a great temptation, or even a sin, there's great goodness as well. That's always available. Why? Because we're living in the midst of a spiritual battle. So I have some very old and boring news for you. The devil hates you. He doesn't really hate you. You're just in the way. So don't take it personally. You're nothing really special to him at all. All right? I know we all want to be special. But the devil, you're just in the way. All right? I was with some young people. We went to a very interesting place, downtown downtown Boulder in Colorado. And after a youth convention, all right, a conference of young Catholics, 3,000 Catholics there, and we had our group, and we're going down there. We're going to this place, and it's like a circus. That's about all I can say. It's like a circus. That's about all I can say. And there was these Satanists there. I mean, real Satanists. They had the goatees, and they had their eyebrows and twisted up like that, and they wanted to look like devil or what they thought was in a Hollywood movie or some old book, right? And they yelled at us. Oh, wow. They yelled at us. They said, "Satan loathes you." And one of the girls in my group says, "We already know that." That was pretty sharp, huh? And they're like, and they just kind of looked at us. But it is true. Satan does loathe us, but you know what? We can own that. You have to own the spiritual battle, right? You have to know where you're going. And Jesus is with us, and greater is he that is us than he who is in the world, right? And so here we are in adoration. So Jesus goes off to a deserted place to pray, and they grab him and they say, hey, everybody's looking for you. We must go back to this village. He says, no, we have to go to the next village. We have to go somewhere else. Why? Because the gospel moves. The gospel doesn't just sit there, doesn't stagnate. All right, and even the gospel of Mark, more than Matthew, Luke, and John, really, Mark is like, it's fast. It's like, there's like no time out, nothing, hardly at all. I mean, Matthew draws it out, Luke will draw it out. We have more information, obviously. But Mark is a fast-moving gospel. And also we know that the gospel must go out, must move, right? It is an action of love, right? Right, mothers? Mothers, love is always an action, right? And your children say, ay, mama. Te quiero, mama. Te quiero, te quiero, te quiero. Ay, mija, mija. Like, I see mijo. Yo sé que te quiero. But who's going to empty the trash? I love you, but who's going to clean the garden? I love you, but who's going to watch your little sister? Right? So love is always an action. Okay. That's true. Love is always an action. So the action of love must go out. All right? We encounter a love right here that flows from the holy sacrifice of the Mass, the Eucharist. And we must pray. We must have some quiet time with Jesus, right? Remember, I was a little boy, the nuns would always say, after Eucharist, go back to your pew and go like this. Don't look at anybody. Of course, my sister was just trying to control third graders, right? But just go back and be with Jesus. And we need that time of consolation. And then that feeds us so we go out into the world. Because people in the world do not know Jesus. They don't know who he is. And sometimes they visit him, right? On Ash Wednesday, or they Guadalupe, Christmas, they visit. Everybody wants to kiss the baby Jesus in Epifanía, right? Para besar al niño Jesús. But who is Jesus? Who is Jesus? And so when we let him into our lives and we're praying right here in the midst of a spiritual battle, he's strengthening us and calling us on. And the saints are with us, right? Teresa of Avila, she's with us. The Little Flower's with us. Martín de Porres is with us, right? They're all with us. And they're with us, giving us strength and praying with us. And the angels are with us. And we need not fear. We're always going to have distractions, right? Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. Father, I have a lot of distractions. So do I. It's not a sin. Can you tell me a sin? All right? So we have these distractions, but the spiritual battle is real, and we get filled up in the grace right here, and then we can go out into the world, and that is called evangelization. So how do I tell others about Jesus if I don't know Jesus myself? How do I tell others about Jesus when I don't pray? How do I do that? And so here we are at St. Martin de Porres, and you have adoration. And everything must begin with prayer. And that prayer calls us on to holiness. And holiness gives us a fervor and a relationship. And then we're called to bring that love to others. Adoration is an encounter with love. Love is an action, and action always goes out. It is not smothered. We want to show that to others. And so as we are here, perhaps you pray the Anima Christi, soul of Christ sanctify me, body of Christ heal me, blood of Christ inebriate me, water from the side of Christ wash me, passion of Christ strengthen me. O good Jesus, hear me, into your wounds hide me, never permit me to be separated from you, from the evil one defend me. At the hour of my death call me, and bid me to come into your presence, praising me with all your saints. It's a great Eucharistic prayer to enter into the very wounds of Christ, who gives us strength, and with all those saints with us, may we give God the glory and allow him to touch us.